Alright, welcome everyone to a new YouTube video, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to build a 7-figure coaching business. Disclaimer, this is extremely practical, not some theoretical BS. I'm actually going to give you action steps, examples, because there's so much business coaching out there that if we go to events, and this is not with like a judgmental or negative tone, but for myself to have invested in many mentorships, and advice often it gets given is not practical or is hard to implement because it's very theoretical or service level. So that's why I'm going to be taking you here today through my screen, through a solid presentation. And again, this is coming from someone, myself, and it sounds egoistical, but there's only one way to say it. I've scaled my coaching business to over 500K per month and then $1 million a month. I've also been able to help many people scale to 1 million a month and 2 million a month. Proof is on my previous video and also on my website, appointmentsetter.com. And in today's video, I'm going to go deep with you, give you action items, and really show you how to build a 7-figure coaching business, even an 8-figure coaching business, and give you as much value as I can. And lastly, before I dive into it, if you want to get some help from myself with starting or scaling your coaching business, there's a link in the description where you can book a call. Or if you'd like, you can join my community first and see like kind of more of the things that I'm about and how I can help. So with that being said, let's dive into the video and make this happen. All right, so how to scale your coaching business to 100K to 300K per month in 2025 and even beyond. And again, just some reference of some incredible entrepreneurs I've worked with. Sambo Onua, who's doing over 8 figures a year. Joshua Katz, who is also 8-figure entrepreneur. Richard Buell, who's in over $1 million a month with my help. Angos Nunifas in the Latin American market, who's doing over 400K per month in that market. Paul Alex done over 1.5 million a month. His testimonial is pinned to my Instagram profile. Jaime Boeda as well. Rasma Paraspeech, our company scaled over 500K per month, and Frank Majorino over 300K per month in the Italian market. Now, I want to keep this brief, but again, I just want to show some proof so you know the things I'm going to show you are not just some things I found on ChatGPT or Google. They're actually applicable to the real world, and so therefore to your business. Also, just some quick proof of myself. I've also shown in the previous video, this is my own Stripe processors. I've also got a lot over Wire, PayPal, and a couple of other things. So I generate over 20 million plus total. And look, let's start with addressing the elephant in the room, because you probably know a lot of strategies by now. But there is a big difference in knowing something and executing something successfully in practice so you could reap the most fruits from it, okay? A lot of people that I speak to on sales calls and, I audit their business, I really show them like the things that are loopholes. For example, many people don't know that our company brings in an extra 20 to 30% in new monthly sales from just following up with our past sales calls through DM setters and closures. For most people, it's non-existent or a low percentage, right? Or that appointment setters only have 10 conversations per day. For most people, for us, it's 300 to 400, right? So you may have appointment setters, you may be doing follow-up, but there's ways you can improve it so you can get more results, right? And that's really what separates my 7-figure clients from my 8-figure clients. And again, it's not about doing many things, it's about doing a few, but extremely well. So let's kick it off with the biggest needle movers for your coaching business. So I got 5 things here that I'm going to be covering today. So number 1, a DM appointment setter for your coaching business. That's someone who works in your inbox and books in appointments full-time, 7-8 hours a day. And this is someone with emotional intelligence that understands nuance, has a good framework. It can really get someone from literally a conversation from scratch to a booked call. And of course, hot leads that are easy to book in and stuff like that. That's what we're going to cover. Leveraging call to actions to drive demand lead flow. Most coaches also, they do call to actions, but maybe once a month, maybe once a week, or inconsistently. You need to have a consistent cadence so you can maximize the leverage from your audience if you want to help people with your services by throwing your offer out there, right? Third, increasing your LTV, your existing clients and students. 4, leveraging follow-ups and reoffers to convert more. And then lastly, understanding your asymmetric activities. So first, we're going to be covering the DM appointment setter to book more calls. So look, one of the biggest revenue drivers for myself and my clients that are doing 100K, 300K, 500K, even 1 to 2 million per month is DM appointment setters. And as I mentioned earlier, they are hires to work 7-8 hours per day, and they build genuine relationships with people who will follow your online organic content. But the question is, how do you best implement and leverage these sales hires in practice? So let's cover that real quickly. So the standards and basic knowledge of DM setters for myself that I want to share with you is number 1, the work time should be about 7-8 hours per day. Number 2, your pay structure should be about 5 to 7% in commission. And again, This differs per business. Like if you're doing 100K per month, 5% is great. If you're doing 50K per month, 7% is great. If you're doing 30K per month, 8 to 10% is great with even maybe a little bit of a base, because otherwise your researcher are going to leave due to a lack of earning potential. Amount of conversations, 300 to 500 per day. I say that's a good range. And look, it's not like you're having 300 to 500 active conversations. It's probably like 10, 20% of that is going to be active, okay? And it's really important to note that, because some people look at this metric that I share on my Instagram stories from my setters at that many under KPIs. But again, 10, 20% is active, right? So it's basically 100 outbound, 200 follow-ups, 50 to 100 inbound DMs that we get. We propose 30, 40 calls, and then we book 10, 20 calls, for just a rough example. And that's quite a wall for us as well, right? So I'm accomplished 3 to 500 a day, calls booked 4 to 10 a day. That's what you should be able to get with that metric. Again, differs per business, right? Because it depends on how good your brand is, how good your content is, how many eyeballs are reaching, how good your setter is. But that, with everything being dialed in, is incredibly realistic, right? And 2 fun facts. The first one is that my appointment setter drives 90% of my revenue, which is a big chunk, right? It's 9 out of 10 of my business. Yeah. And they drive 60 to 100% of my top clients' revenue, right? So it's safe to say, if you know how to implement them successfully and you install them into an environment as well that has a good foundation, success is inevitable, right? Now, let's talk about the dynamic of DM appointment setters, right? So like how they work, how you should set them up, and what I recommend, because maybe you've got an Instagram, a Facebook, a school, an email, and the question is like, well, how do you kind of set them up so you're getting the most bang for your buck when you're paying your setter and they're doing the work, right? Like how you set them up for success. So appointment setters ideally should focus only, in my opinion, on one platform, at most 2, while still retaining the core focus on one to leverage the platform to the maximum. And the reason why is because if you put your setter on 2, 3, 4 different platforms, you're just not going to be able to go deep, with the platform itself. Because if you have 1,000 followers on Twitter and 2,000 on LinkedIn, and he or she only has 30, 40 conversations on Twitter and another 30, 40 on LinkedIn, like you're not leveraging that whole platform, right? And so 2 things happen there. It's opportunity cost because there's a lack of focus. And number 2, it's unnecessary complexity, right? So that's my opinion. Second thing, it's follow-ups, right? So that's another thing that ties back into going deep. So as I mentioned earlier, I convert an extra 20 to 30% in new monthly sales by just following up with leads that we previously had a sales call with in the DMs, right? So there's a lot for the taking here, because you can literally export your entire Calendly list and take all the emails, put them in active campaign the last 6-12 months, email all these people, get them back on your calendar. Second thing you need to do, you can go ahead, message them all one by one, right? And see what her objections, concerns are and get them in. And that's how you get that extra percent. Furthermore, we do 100 to 200 outbound DMs per day to existing followers. So not cold or from someone else's audience, just our own following. So that's one. Number 2, we do 100 to 200 follow-ups per day as well. On top, we drive inbound DMs organically, and we have a strong DM setting framework that we use to convert 1 out of 5 conversations that we have actively into a booked call, right? I wanted to mention additionally that most coaches don't follow up at all. That's one. Or there is no accountability or a good overview to ensure your pipeline is being leveraged at the maximum capacity, right? So that's one thing you want to always make sure is dialed in. So if you're a coach and you want to get an A to Z understanding of how to find, hire, train, and manage appointment setters, I've got a free course on School that you can get access to if you click the first link in the description. It's basically the join free community for coaches and investors. You go over there, you join in, you go to Classroom. It's called Scaling with Setters. It's free, so if you want to check that out, feel free to, and it's going to be all yours. So, and if you go through that, you're literally going to be, by the way, able to get ahead on 95% of coaches by just implementing this framework that I have crafted over the years, and it helped many successful clients install this too. So, second component, let's dive into organic marketing and start with email first. Because most people that come into my mastermind, for example, they have an email list but don't use it, or they have an email list and they maybe send an email out once a week or once a month, or they have no structure, or they're not sending out the right call to actions, right? So let's start there. What we're going to do first, however, is we're first going to build up the list size to as high as we can. So a couple of things that I want to make sure we cover first is number one, I'd like to ask you to export all your past sales calls on Calendly and add them into your email service provider. If you use OneTop, if you use Go High Level, just grab all the emails, put them in there. That's one. Second, scavenge all your past type forms, funnels, and other emails you've got. Then import them into a list and then get ready to send out your first email. Okay? Now, after you've done that, and please do it as we're literally doing this video because you're going to get results. I guarantee that. If you got like a 500 email list minimum, even 250, and you do what I'm about to say in a couple seconds, couple minutes here, you're going to book a few calls. Okay? So, and also just want to add some quick context and explain the concept first before I dive into the email that I'm going to ask you to send out. So for context, I generate multi-5 and even 6 figures a month front email myself. And the flow that I follow consistently are 2 flows. So number one, it's short form emails. And these are basically call to actions where you say something along the lines of, I'm looking for 5 people that want to get X, Y, and Z sold. Skip line, click here to apply. You plug in your Calendly. That's one version, is a very quick one. And the second one is long form emails. And this is basically providing value in forms of educational content, results of people you're working with, personal story that you can share, or kind of like a value and building up into a call to action. That's also possible. Now, I also recommend to post no more than 1 email per day so you don't get reported for spam. And that way your open rates remain healthy. Because if your spam rate goes above 0.2 or 0.3%, you can add it to your blacklist and your open rates move from 20-30% to 2% until you rebuild your reputation, which can take months. So again, don't be afraid of that, but just so you know. Now, action step to immediately book calls from an email. So do this. Go to ActiveCampaign, go to Go High Level, go to Milcha, whatever ESP you use, and use this as your headline. Your first headline is going to be capital R, lowercase e, double dot, space, and you say, hey, and then the preview text is going to be, I'm looking for 5 your target avatar in this month of January who want to achieve results or result you help people get as a, and then, you know, like the outcome you help them become. So for us, that's a high ticket setter within the next timeline. So for us, it's within the next 90 days or less, or 60 days or less. And then the copy, so I put it right here on the screen. I'll read it out as well. So you're going to say, I'm looking for 5 new students in January who want to make this in a month as a high ticket setter within the next 60 days or less. This is our guarantee. If that's you, tap here to apply and see if you qualify. And then please only apply your series within your life. And then what you're going to put in that tap here to apply is you're going to basically put in your calendar link. So your calendar, don't put in a VSL, don't put in your IG, just put in your Calendly and just listen to me just this one time. And I'm not telling you, do not listen to me what I'm making you use. I'm just saying, like, with this specifically, just listen to my advice and implement this. Then also email rights. So if you put something at the bottom, something I learned from a mastermind, it's basically like a big disclaimer that helps lift your open rates to a positive, like higher level than that you usually would. If you want to just join my school community, you can ask me for it. I'll send that over to you and go ahead and send out that email. Furthermore, if you want to copy my email strategy for free, as you can see right here on my screen on the right side, I've got my 7-day email campaigns. I've got 1.5 years worth out of written content that I've actually used. And then on the left side, you can see basically what I get to see if I click on one of those documents. So it's like 7 emails. So for every day of the week from Monday to Friday. If you want to get access to that, just join my school community, ping me. I can send it over to you and I'm more than happy to do that. Okay. So as I said, it's got to be practical, guys. That's my promise. Now the next one, increasing the LTV, the lifetime value of your existing clients or students. So at the beginning of American Consulting, one of my most successful companies and what I'm most known for, I launched my first LTV offer at $36,000 a year for online coaches. And they first all started in my 5.8K program at the time, and I got about 120 clients from when I launched to the beginning of February 2021. So I launched in October 2020, and then in February 2021, I had about 120 people. And then I scaled from 100K per month in Jan 2021 to 500K per month in June, which is 7 months later, for largely due to the ascensions, about like 50-60%, of the 500K came from mastermind sales, which is a huge jump, right? And it's because the account receivables piled up. And think about it as well, right? Like 5 ascensions equate to $180,000 in lifetime value sales. So I don't need to make a lot of sales to make a lot of like back-end revenue, right? And that was a large reason on why I was able to scale very, very quickly and what you can do as well. Now, just a pretty good limiting beliefs, because you may be telling yourself, well, Bas, I'm in this space and it may not work, right? Well, look, I also have clients in the trading space who, with my help, created a $14,000 a year offer. I also have clients in e-commerce space who have a $55,000 a year offer. And I can reference all these people. I also have clients in the MSIBA space with a $40,000 a year offer, Aileen Kromali. I also have clients in the Airbnb real estate space with an $80,000 a year offer, George Salas, Joel Aponte. I also have clients in the YouTube automation space who have a $40,000 a year offer. Kabir Suda, Safir Suda. You can literally type them in on Instagram. And I also have clients in the dating space with a $30,000 a year offer, Chris Parker. And, don't get me wrong. You can be in a market where it's not as applicable, but for most markets, this is definitely applicable, right? Now, talking about the mastermind offer, if you want to create a successful one, do this. Just think of the outcome you're currently helping your clients achieve. So let's say for me, I help coaches go from 0 to 20K per month, right? Then what you want to do is create a specific offer of the next chapter of what they can achieve. So in my case, if a coach gets to 20, 30K per month and they do it as a one-man army, the next natural step is they usually want to go to 50 or 100K per month. They need a team to do it. And in my mastermind, I show them the marketing strategy. I help them get an appointment setter. I help them get a closure. And with that, I can charge a higher ticket because those value adds can, basically add 70K per month to their business if they go from 30K per month, 100K per month, which equates 840K a year, right? So it's kind of a no-brainer. Now, as another example, in e-commerce, my clients helps them scale to 100K per month, right? And then once they get there, it helps them get to 300K to $1 million a month by building a team with a mastermind offer. He helps them connect to more suppliers, Amex contacts, like... I made it together with a client and the list is like 30 deliverables long. So you can add a lot of value. You just have to figure this out for yourself, right? Now, renewal and continuation offers for other markets, right? So the mastermind offer is not applicable to you because you can still increase LTV and add significant gains to your coaching business, even without a high ticket mastermind offer. And this would be the case if, number one, your student or client doesn't have strong purchasing power or, with that not a lot of access to capital, or second, so it could be either or both, the offer is not giving them a strong or direct ROI to upgrade. And don't get me wrong, if you work with an older age avatar, people with a good job, let's say, entrepreneurs who can afford it, you still very well may be able to have a mastermind, right? So I even have clients in the spiritual space, relationship space, as I mentioned earlier, other industries that are not, directly correlated to making money online and are still doing it. People, Tony Robbins, right? Now, you don't have to be Tony Robbins to sell. Like he literally sells a $1 million a year, I think, for 4 sessions. Probably raised the price by now because I heard that 3 years ago for his 101, right? So don't tell yourself you can't. It's a limiting belief. If you really can objectively, okay, but consider it because this can be a game changer for you. Now, with renewal and continuations offers for other markets, you can consider the following LTV offers if you cannot come up with a mastermind offer, okay? Number one, renewal offers. You can renew people for 50 to 75% of the initial program fee, right? So you basically do the exact same thing. You give them a new plan towards the next goal they want to set. Using the same vehicle you already have helped them achieve a specific result with. Okay. Second, continuation offers. So in this case, they get to retain access to the course, the community, and certain components. So there could be one-on-one calls or maybe one-on-one chat, or in this case, there is no one-on-one calls and no one-on-one chat. And you usually price continuation offers at a monthly rate or upfront rate, 25-30% of the initial program fee. Okay. And I'm just giving a very high level because, again, this can be so contextual based upon the market offer brand you have and how your clients do result-wise. And then lastly, downsell offers, right? So you can literally just get access to group live coaching calls and community alone for 20 to 40% of the initial program fee. All right. Now, one thing, if you want to know exactly how I would create a high-ticket mastermind offer, I've actually made a YouTube video on it. It's called How to Create a $50,000 a Year Mastermind Offer. Otherwise, if you want to, you can just DM me on school, Facebook, and I'm more than happy to provide insights on what I would do in your situation, okay? Now, furthermore, next one, adding aligned and consistent CTAs in your ecosystem. If you're on Instagram, right, I recommend one CTA on your story every other day, so every 2 days. If you're also on Instagram, I also recommend one CTA on the feed every other day. Cool trick. If you add all your followers to your close friends, you can X3 to X4 your reach. So if you didn't know that, now you know. It's huge. And if you want a contact, I can do it for you. Just let me know in school as well. If you have an email list, I recommend also a CTA every other day. Now, really any platform you have, on the stories, the feed, just do a CTA once every 2 days. If you don't know what a CTA is, it's just a simple messaging piece formatted accordingly based on where you posted at, where you say, I'm looking for 5 people that want to get X, Y, and Z result through my personal help. If that's you, DM 2025 and let's chat, right? Because if you don't make offers, guys, people will just not know you have an offer and you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Now, for other people that are building a brand, a personal brand, right? Like this is a bit controversial because when you do CTA, you drain your goodwill if you do it too often, right? So I recommend instead of every other day, you do it once a week, right? Because my clients like Samlo Nua, Alex Chen, creating Wishart Effects, Camille, have a very premium feed. So instead, you'd want to just do it one time a week maximum to retain most goodwill. And then just, on the back, leverage email, leverage DM etc. so you can still consistently and predictably have a good call flow. And here's a couple of examples that you can see as well, like on how we make the stories. So literally best way to do it is you just remove all your stories from the day before. You wait 30, 45 minutes, and then you post a story, just one, and you don't post anything after, so you get the most reach to your story, okay? Now, guys, if you combine the inbound lead flow successfully, right, from the CTAs you're doing, successfully with a DM appointment setter, you'll be able to book more calls than you ever have in the past, consistently and predictably. And remember, I showed examples, but it comes down to how good you execute the marketing content on a high quality level, along with how you set the KPIs, how you quality check your setters, and making sure that the speed to lead is good, with the quality of conversation being led and good, right? Now, adding 30 to 40% in extra new monthly sales. So as I mentioned a couple of times, we do post-sales call follow-ups to increase our new monthly sales by 20-30% just from the leads that we've spoken with the month before or a week before, a couple of weeks before. That's one. Second, we do re-offers to increase our new monthly sales by 7 to 13%. And I'll explain a little bit in a moment here what a re-offer is. But first, what is a post-sales call follow-up and what is our flow like, right? So right after the sales call, unless the closer is in touch and handling the lead, the DMs that will message the lead to ask how the call went and convert the lead based on what they say, right? And your team should be aligned in communication and not overlapping with each other on the follow-up side, right? So that's why very good accountability and communication systems are fundamental to this process. Now, what is a reoffer and how does it exactly work for past sales calls? So a reoffer is a message sent by a closer or a DM setter to a past sales call lead. And this, however, includes an additional incentive. That's why it's called a reoffer. So you're making another offer for the second time, but over chat. And this will basically help with increasing the likelihood of conversion, right? And an example for reoffer message to past sales calls is, so you basically say, hey, John, I just wanted to let you know because you connected with, my closer in the past that we currently have a discount going on for the next 24 hours. If you would like to know the details, just let me know and I'll share them with you. So that way you have to reach out first and then you're talking with them, right? And then from there, the appropriate person takes the conversation, right? Closes them over to DM or a second sales call gets booked depending on where the lead is at and what they would like. Now, that's how literally, guys, without doing a new strategy or any additional money, into ads or team or something, whatever, you can literally increase your cash collected with 20-30% next 30 days simply by doing follow-ups to past sales calls and re-offers. Now, lastly, finding your asymmetric activity. So what is an asymmetric activity? It's when you trade a small input for a high output. So you do something that takes 5 to 10 minutes, and you get a big result for it in return. Now, think about everything we covered here today, right? So Some examples are the following. You send an email to 10,000 people, which takes 10 minutes or less, and you book 5 to 20 calls if your list size is a couple thousand people from just 10 minutes of inputting content into the body of the email, right? Another example is you book 3 ascension calls with existing students to sell your mastermind offer to, and you literally generate $100,000 by just taking 3 calls yourself, right? Those are 2 examples. Now, here's an action step. Marketing flow and asymmetric activities. So now, make sure you create a list of practical inputs to scale your business. And here's an example of daily activities. So number 1, send out an email with a call to action. Number 2, post an IG story with a call to action. Number 3, post an IG feed post with a call to action. Number 4, book successful students in for Ascension renewal. Next one, make sure the DM setter is hitting KPIs. Next one, make sure DM setters and closers are following up. Last one, for example, make sure to get up-to-date sales data for reviews, see where some loopholes may be, right? Then from there, make sure you create a list of practical inputs to scale your business. And here's an example of, again, some asymmetric activities. So send out an email blast, sending people to your lack of value offer, taking sales calls with top quality leads yourself, creating a retargeting ad campaign to book a call for your offer, post an organic call to action on Instagram to generate a certain amount of leads, set out reoffer to past sales calls. So use these 5 strong growth tools in your arsenal to scale further, right? Obviously, there's more to it, such as hiring your core team, but making sure the execution is successful in marketing so DMs can thrive, and so with that, the closing team can thrive for consistent skill as they get consistent appointments. And with all that being said, guys, I'm out of breath here. I need some water. Hey, if you want my help to scale your coaching business, book a call with the link down below. Or if you want, you can message me on my personal account on Instagram. I have no setter on that account. I got a setter on Bastiaan and Bustfold_. My private personal IG handle is @BastiaanBusiness. Send me a message. We can set something pull up. And with all that being said, I hope you got tons of value out of this video. Thanks for watching.